Good morning to one and all present here. So welcome to Tyson YouTube channel. So here you get video solutions and a complete lesson teaching by repeated students. So today we have seen about organism and population in the previous video up to suspend, that is responses of abiotic factor. Now we are going to see about adaptations. So now adaptations. So the main points here is, so what actually an adaptation mean? Adaptation is any attribute of organism, physiological, behavioral, morphological, that enables the organism to survive and reproduce. This is called as adaptation. Many adaptations are seen, but they all are genetically fixed. So genetically fixed in sense, adaptations will be different, but the common gene from which it arises doesn't change. So for example of adaptations, kangaroo, which lives in the North American desert, during stressful water stress condition, when there is no external source of water, kangaroo does fat oxidation and concentrate the urine. So these are the adaptations done by the kangaroo to live in those areas or in its habitat. So then desert plants, even plants also have certain adaptations such as thick cuticle and stomata present in deep pits. Why the stomata is present in deep pits? So these stomata does transpiration work. So if the stomata is present deep inside, then transpiration can be reduced, thus reducing the loss of water. Plants also have special photosynthetic pathway that enables stomata to remain closed during the daytime. So during daytime, stomata always remains closed during the CAM pathway, which is a specialized photosynthetic pathway. Also, another adaptation of desert plants like opuntia, which has no leaves. Opuntia does not have any leaves, but the leaves are getting reduced to spines. What is the use? Leaves have more surface area. When these are converted into spines, the surface area much reduced. So hence the transpiration per unit area will also get reduced. So this is the aim of the opuntia plant. So it is also consisting of flattened stems. It also consists of spines and flattened stems for the photosynthetic function. So it does photosynthesis. Here mammals, so now we are going to see about Allen's rule. What is Allen's rule? Mammals during the were living in the cold areas, cold climates, have short ears and limbs to minimize the heat loss. Polar areas consist of aquatic animals, example seals, which have thicker layer of fat under the skin called blubber. These blubber have two types of function. One is insulator, another one it reduces the loss of body heat. So during the high altitudes when moved, such as Rotang Pass near Manali and Mansarovar, which was occupied by China, causes altitude sickness due to the low atmospheric pressure. So due to this low atmospheric pressure, our body soon gets adapted to that environment by compensating the low oxygen availability by increasing the red blood cell production. by increasing the red blood cell production, also decreasing the affinity of the hemoglobin, and third one is increasing the breathing rate. So microbes have 100 microbes can even live greater than 100 degrees Celsius, but humans have only 37 degrees Celsius. Why this is happening? Because of biochemical adaptations these are happening. So for example, a fish living in the Antarctica can always move without freezing. This is also due to biochemical adaptations. Marine invertebrates which live in the greater depths where the pressure could be greater than 100 times the normal atmospheric pressure that we experience. So this also is due to the biochemical adaptations. So some organisms show behavioral responses also because they do not have the ability of mammals. So hence they do not have ability of mammals, hence they show it by their behavioral means or physiological ability. For example, desert lizard. So desert lizard, to maintain its body temperature constant, it basks in sun and absorb heat. When during summer it does not want heat, so hence it moves to the shady areas and does not absorb heat. And this is the adaptation which desert lizards show. Some other species are there which lives by burying in the soil and escaping from the above ground heat. This could be also an adaptive measure taken by the organisms itself, which we state it as behavioral or physiological term. So next we are going to see about population. Under population, we first see about population attributes. So in population attributes, we rarely find isolated single individual of any species. Majority of them live in always groups, as we live in groups humans, for example. So these are defined only particular geographical area, share or compete for similar resources, and they potentially interbreed, thus constitute a population. So what all does the species do when it is in a population? First, it does share or compete for similar resources, then potentially they interbreed, then they constitute a population. So although the term interbreeding implies sexual reproduction, a group of individuals resulting from even asexual reproduction is also generally considered a population. So this is a group, this is a group, this is a group. In this, sexual reproduction is done, in this asexual reproduction is done. So this group is doing sexual reproduction, this is also called population. This is doing asexual reproduction and this is also called as population. So all the cormorants, here cormorants means large diving birds. So cormorants in a wetland, rats in an abundant dwelling, teak wood trees in a forest tract, bacteria in a culture plate and lotus plants in a pond are some examples of population. So population has different species, for example cormorants, rats, teak wood, bacteria in culture plate lotus in plants? So this will be a neat question. Also, in earlier chapters, you have learned that although an individual organism is the one that has to cope with the changed environment, it is the population level that natural selection operates to evolve the desired traits. It is at a population level. So what they are telling is, so in earlier chapters we have learned that if an individual to survive, if an individual want to survive, it should cope up with the surrounding environment. So if a tsunami happens, those who die are not selected by nature. Those who survive are selected by nature. So this is a best example here. So what it means is, the nature changes its environment only due to the population level. It is evolving and forming the desired traits. Population ecology is an important area of ecology because it links ecology to the population genetics and evolution. So bringing a connection between population and ecology is said to be that of the population ecology, in which population genetics as well as evolution has been taking place. A population has certain attributes that an individual organism does not. An individual may have births and deaths, but a population has birth rate and death rate. For an individual only it is birth and death. When we mention it as a population, it will be birth rate, death rate. So in a population, these rates refer to the per capita birth and deaths respectively. Said to be per capita birth and death respectively. Hence it is expressed is change in number with respect to the members of the population. So how much number is changed divided by total members in a population will give you the birth rate or death rate. For example, if 4 individuals in a laboratory population of 40 fruit fly died during a specified time interval, say a week, so the death rate in the population during that period is, so the changed number is 4 divided by total number is 40 will give you the death rate individuals fruit fly per week. It is a death rate given because 4 are dying. If 4 are, they are saying 4 are born, then it will be birth rate. So note it down, it is per week because they say at an interval of per week. If they say at an interval of per month, here per month should come. Another attribute of characteristic, I will say again, see here it is mentioned as week, so hence it is birth rate, means death rate per week. If they are telling that 4 members of the individual had died, then had born, here in place of die it come born, then it should be birth rate, but now it is a death rate. Another attributive characteristic of population is sex ratio. So what is sex ratio? An individual is either a male or a female, but population has a sex ratio. Example, 60% of the populations are females, 40% of the populations are males. This is the percentage of the males and the females present. So here 6 ratio means, for example, if we take females 1000 in number out of the total population of 1500. So now we have to calculate the sex ratio. Sex ratio of female equal to number of females 1000 divided by total number of the population, which will be 1500. Hence the ratio will be obtained. Next, a population at any time is composed of individual of a given age or a group of age is plotted for the population. The resulting structure is called an age pyramid. So what is the age pyramid here? So age pyramids are represented below like this. So here age pyramids are represented like this. Now we can view it like this. So here what happens, here, sorry for the inconvenient. So here they are still telling that it is as expanding. So why it is expanding? Because the post reproductive, like this the curve comes. Now never it goes like this, because this is aged people, these are reproductively young people, these are pre-reproductive teens. So as we come like this, it is expanding. So pre-reproductive are more, hence it is an expanding curve. Here it is said as stable because the reproductive as well as pre-reproductive are same, hence here it is stable. Here it is declining because it is less than the pre-reproductive stage is less than the reproductive stage, hence it is declining. So this is the graph required. The size of the population tells us a lot about its status in the habitat. Whatever ecological processes we wish to investigate in a population, be it an outcome of competition with another species, the impact of predators, or effect of a pesticide application, we always want the size. So we always evaluate them in terms of change in the population size. The size in nature could be as low as less than 10. 10 here refers to Siberian cranes at Bharatpur wetlands per year in any year, or go into millions such as Chlamydomonas in a pond. So these are the two variable sizes. It may be less than 10. This is a neat question. It may be less than 10, or it may also be into millions due to the Chlamydomonas in a pond, which refers to the Chlamydomonas in a pond. So population size is more technically called as population density. So here they are telling that it is technically termed, so it is population density. Here we do not tell that it is as a size, we consider it as a population density. So need not necessarily be measured in numbers only. Although total number is generally the most appropriate measures of population density, it is in some cases either meaningless or difficult to determine. So for example, it is difficult really in an area if there are 200 Parthenium plants but only a single huge banyan tree with a large canopy. So what they are telling, so in an area 200 Parthenium plants are there, a single huge banyan tree is also there, stating that the population density of banyan is low but Parthenium density is high, to underestimating the enormous role of the banyan in that community. In such cases, the percent cover or biomass is more meaningful. Here now we cannot tell it as a size, hence we consider it as a percent cover or biomass, which will be more meaningful than the previous one. So the total number is again not an easily adoptable measure. If a population is huge, if a population is very huge, the total number is not easily adoptable and counting is very impossible or very time consuming. If you have a dense laboratory culture of bacteria in petri dish, what is the best measure to report its density? Sometimes for certain ecological investigations, there is no need to know absolute population densities. For example, sometimes for a certain ecological investigations, there is no need to know about the absolute population densities. Relative densities serve the more purpose equally. So sometimes we do not want to know the absolutely the what is the population densities, but the relative densities we have to know. For instance, the number of fish caught per trap is good enough measure of its population. So here, if we consider the number of fish caught per trap is good enough measure of its population density in a lake. So we most obliged or to estimate, obliged means legally or morally do something to estimate population size indirectly without actually counting them or seeing them. So we try to not count all the numbers. If for example a population consists of 100 people, we don't count the total 100, we just count the 10 and we remain in calculate by legal moral formulas. So the tiger census in our national parks and tiger reserves is often based on their pug marks and the fecal pellets. This is an important need question. So tiger census is based upon the pellets, their fecal pellets and the pug marks. Pug mark means this mark, like this mark, their paws mark, said to be pug mark. So the population growth next. Sorry for the inconvenience. So now the population growth. The size of the population for any species is not a static parameter. It keeps changing with respect to time, depending upon the various factors including food availability, predation pressure and adverse weather. So they are telling that the size often not becomes static, that is not remains constant. The population changes. For example, in humans, it was in the 2000 billions, it was at 2000, half of the population of now, but in 2000, in 10 years we become doubled. So like that the population remains constant, it becomes changing, and it depends upon the availability of the food, predation pressure in terms of animals, and for the adverse weather condition. These also are factors which are affecting the growth of the population. So in fact, these changes in the population density that give us some idea of what happening to the population, whether it is flourishing or declining. Whatever might be the ultimate resources, the density of the population in a given habitat during a period fluctuate due to the change in the four basic processes, two of which is natality, immigration, and contribute to the increase in the population. Density of the two are mortality and immigration, which decreases. So they are telling that there are four attributes of the population growth, which is natality, mortality, immigration, emigration. So natality means birth rate, mortality means death rate, immigration means if a population is there, some people come into this population. This is said to be that of the immigration. Emigration means if a population is there and some peoples go out of the population, is said to be the emigration. Immigration, 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 immigration. These are the differences of the pronunciation of the words. So see this table. Here they are telling that natality plus immigration plus means immigration plus immigration minus mortality minus. So these we have to plus and these we have to minus, so that the population density we get. So the formula they have given is, so population density will be equal to birth rate plus immigration minus death rate plus immigration. Here it is t plus 1, here t. So at time t the population density is what? At t plus 1 the time means the population density is what we have to calculate. So this formula is also an important point of view. So at the time t plus 1 equal to population density at time t plus birth rate plus immigration minus death rate plus e-migration. So under normal conditions, birth and death are most important factors influencing the population density. The other two factors assuming importance only special conditions. For instance, if a new habitat is just being colonized, immigration may contribute more significantly to population than birth rate. So among them, which is natality is giving more rates, or immigration is giving more rates, the competition will be started. Next, growth models. What is growth models? Does the growth of the population with time show any specific predictable pattern? We have been concerned about unbridled human population growth and problems created by it in our country. Therefore, it is natural for us to be curious if different animal population in nature behave the same way or show some restraint on the growth. Perhaps we can turn. So this is a general information of growth models, how growth models can grow. So it can be in the form of exponential growth. In what is exponential growth? Here the resources availability is essential for the uninterrupted growth of population. So when the resources are unlimited, so here this is the notable point in the exponential growth. In exponential growth, when the resources are unlimited, each species has the ability to realize fully its innate potential to grow in number. As Darwin observed while developing his theory of natural selection, he saw only unlimited food. Then the population grows in an exponential or geometric fashion. If in a population of size n, the birth rate, not total number, but per capita births are represented as b, and death rates, again per capita death rates, as small d, then the increase or decrease in the population density during unit time period is represented as dn by dt. dn by dt will be equal to b minus d into n. Here small b is per capita birth rate. Per capita is the main important word there. Per capita birth rate, and it is per capita death rate into the population density. Also now we can write it as b minus d. So here b minus d we represent as r into n. So here b minus d is now said to be the intrinsic rate of natural increase. Intrinsic rate of natural increase is the growth parameter, important parameter used here for the population growth. May it be biotic or abiotic. Here some values have been given, which is very important in the neat point of view. Norway, the rat is 0.015, floor beetle is 0.112, in means 1981 the R value for the human population was, for the human population during the year 1981 was 0.0205. These numbers are very important. So it is next it was after the death rates, it is nt equal to n naught e power rt. So what is this? It is an exponential growth equation, we write it as. So it is J shaped. Darwin showed this. I think Darwin showed this. Yeah, Darwin showed how even a slow animal like elephant could reach enormous numbers. So after only under a unlimited condition, only under unlimited. So next there is a story. Here the graph is present. So here the graph is present. In this graph, this is taken as time t, this is taken as population density n. So here nt is equal to n naught e power rt. hence the curve is like a J shaped, like the J shaped. This curve is coming, we are going to read now. So let's see. Here nt is equal to population density after time t. N0 is the population density at time 0. R is the intrinsic rate of the natural increase. Base of the natural length is 2.731. Okay, so now it is a story given. So story and all no need. Next it is logistic growth curve. So in a logistic growth curve, no population of any species in nature has its disposal unlimited resources to permit exponential growth. Has its disposal unlimited resources. So no population of any species in nature has its disposal unlimited resources to permit exponential growth. So this eventually leads to the competition between the individuals for the limited resource. Eventually the fittest individual will survive and reproduce. So what is they are telling is, for a food is not particularly to only one animal, one organism. It is for the all organisms. Hence there will be remaining a competition for the limited food, because unlimited, there won't be an unlimited food because the population is been increasing. So here it is a limited food only. Here it is they are telling about limited resources, and only the fittest individual can survive and reproduce in that and eat that food. Governments of many countries have also realized this fact and introduced various resistance to limit human population growth. In nature, a given habitat has enormous resources to support a maximum possible number, beyond which no further growth is possible. So let us call this limit as nature's carrying capacity. So what they are telling is, according to the logistic growth curve, a population goes only up to a level. A population grows only up to a level. After that, no growth is seen. Like that they are telling. So they are keeping this as a carrying capacity K. So for that species in the habitat, for example, for humans we take. A population growing in a habitat with limited resources show a large lag phase. First it shows a large lag phase, followed by the acceleration. First it shows a lag phase like this, like a lag phase. Next it shows an acceleration. Now the acceleration has come, then it goes to the top. So it goes to the top, and finally deceleration. So again decelerates. So it is like S-shaped curve. It's like S-shaped curve. So here it is finally becomes an asymptote. Finally it becomes 0. So when population density reaches the carrying capacity, means population density means n, reaches the carrying capacity means k. So n is equal to k. When n is equal to k, n in relation to the time t results in a sigmoid curve. So this S-shaped curve is said to be the sigmoid curve, what we saw here. So it is a sigmoid curve. Here the equation is given by dn is equal to Rn into k minus n by k. K minus n by k. So here R is the same, intrinsic increase of intrinsic rate of natural increase, K carrying capacity, n is population density. See here, n is a population density, and this curve is said to be that of the sigmoid curve. So here it is a sigmoid curve. In case of Darwin, that is exponential growth, exponential phase, it is unlimited resources, and it is J-shaped curve. So there is a difference, that there will be an absolutely neat question in this topic. So n is equal to population density at time t, intrinsic rate of natural increase, k is a carrying capacity. Here a logistic growth model is considered as a more realistic one. So this side is considered as a, this logistic growth is considered as a reality. Exponential growth is not true, like that have considered. Life history variation. So this we will see in the next video. So if you like the video, please subscribe the video, subscribe the channel, share the video to your friends who in need, and please don't forget to press the bell icon. So meet you next time with the life history variation. Until then, bye.